All right, guys, we are into the holiday season. Welcome to this week's episode of Healthy-ish with Nutrishmish. I hope you're enjoying the season. All right, I know this could be a little bit challenging when it comes to like weight loss and nutrition and all those types of things. It doesn't have to, but I know it can be. If you are struggling or you want some tips, listen to the episode I did before this all about the holidays. It'll help break it down in a way where it makes sense so you can actually like enjoy the holidays without kind of like squashing all of your health and nutrition and weight loss goals. A little nugget though, just in case you can't listen to it right now or you just need a little encouragement right now. The best advice I can give you, and I've helped thousands and thousands of people do this, stay in the middle lane. What I mean by that is don't be afraid of the holidays. Don't just sitting there eating the crudité. Like, enjoy the holiday. Like, be normal. You can't physically do a lot of damage in a day or 2 days or even a week. You really can't. Try to keep the, days and events isolated and eat healthy around them if you can. But conversely, and this is the biggest mistake I see people make, do not check out until January. You can do a lot of damage between now and January. And if you can learn to navigate the holidays or even say, I handled this holiday season better than last holiday season, what that really does is that creates a lifestyle change, because part of a lifestyle change is learning to navigate this through things that are going to happen in life, like stressful times and the holidays and all the things that come this time of year. So if you can walk away being like, I handled this holiday season better than last, that is success to me. All right, so this is kind of like a prelude, so to speak, for my resolution rants that will be coming up shortly. You guys know how I feel about New Year's resolutions. But this will be like a prelude to that, because if you're really serious about really losing the weight, keeping it off, not doing the whole dieting thing anymore, like if you're just like over it, like first of all, if you're not over it, can we be over it? Like, can we be over it? Like, me to you. Like, enough already. Like, how much time have you spent agonizing about your weight and stressing out about what you're eating at the restaurant and like feeling like you can't eat this and arguing yourself over eating that and trying this shake and buying this new product? Like, could we be done? I would love to be done. If we could be done, that would be amazing. I'm going to tell you the trick today of what really needs to happen when you're done. We always, if you listen to any of my content on any platform, you always hear me talk about weight being a symptom, not a problem. Let me just elaborate on that for 2 seconds. If you are a follower, I know this is redundant, but like, this is so important. Weight is a symptom and not a problem. The issue, one of the primary issues we have when we're trying to lose weight is we're trying to lose weight. We're trying to just chase a number. And there's so many ways to chase a number that aren't conducive with longevity, right? So for example, if you are going to cut out carbs, will that help you lose weight? Of course it will. But the second that you stop cutting out carbs, you're going to gain the weight back, right? If you can lose weight by, just drinking shakes or ordering like whatever weird powdered stuff or doing calorie restriction or whatever it is, all you're doing in those situations most of the time is just chasing a number. You're learning how to diet. Not in all cases, but I would say 98% of them. You're just learning how to diet. And you could be really great at dieting, but unfortunately, you can't be good at dieting forever. If you've heard my content before, you've heard the stat that 95% of people that go on any given diet to lose weight will gain the weight back within a year. So obviously, we're looking at something wrong. I've used this analogy before, so I apologize if you've heard this before, but it's just really good to like kind of set the stage for what I'm going to be explaining to you. It's very similar to school, right? In school, the goal isn't necessarily to get a good grade, right? The goal is to understand the information. And if you really truly understood the information, that will be reflected in your grade, right? Now, there are other ways to get an A, right? You could cheat to get an A, like I maybe did that a time or two in school. You could try to guess the answers to get the A, but then like you miss the whole point of like understanding the information. And those are kind of like unreliable methods, right? Like you might not always be able to cheat, might not always be able to guess right, but if you understand the information, you're almost guaranteed to get the good grade. You're almost guaranteed to get the A. The A is a reflection of your understanding of the information. And for weight is a reflection of people's eating habits. Unfortunately, when you're dieting, it's kind of like cheating on the test, right? You're just trying to like get from point A to point B in the quickest way possible, but there's no underlying change going on. All you're doing is you're learning how to diet, which we know isn't sustainable. So that's the first problem. Here's the solution. The solution, okay, and this is what I've seen in every single person that I've worked with. So we're talking thousands and thousands of people. Like I've personally, I don't even know, worked with thousands of people. My company as a whole have gone through our, program. It's it's over 10,000 at this point. Every single person that I've seen truly make this change has been successful long term. And the answer is, and this is what I want you to start asking yourself as we're kind of like approaching resolution time. I want you to ask yourself, who is the person that I need to become to be the weight that I've been trying to get to, right? Or to be the size that I want to get to, because we're so focused on the weight, right? We're so focused on the size. What personality traits come along with that person? How are his or her habits different from mine? How is that person's mindset different from mine? Where do I need to bridge the gap in order to become that person? When I work with somebody, right, and they're 250 pounds, right? I'm just making up numbers. And then they're 200 pounds. They are not the same person at 200 pounds as they were at 250. If they're really doing this right, their mindset is different. Their habits are different. The way they think about food is different. The way they react to social situations is different. All of those things are different. And then when that 200-pound person is a 150-pound person or whatever, that person thinks even differently. They have a different set of behaviors. They have a different mindset around that stuff. So with every 10-pound loss, for example, you'll notice shifts in how you think and how you act and your behaviors. And if you put your energy there, you are guaranteed to be successful. It's really what we do at Nutritionish, which is getting to the root of the problem. And again, the way that we do this, we have a whole, system for it. We have a whole framework for it. But even if you don't do it with us, just kind of even thinking about that, well, who is the person that I want to be? Something that I ask my clients sometimes, especially clients who are chronic dieters and clients who are those perpetual, I'll start on Monday people or the resolution people, I'll ask them okay, when you're your ideal eating self, right? What does that person look like? What habits do they have that are different from the habits that you have now? And if you put your energy there, you can't possibly gain the weight back. I mean, I guess you can, but it's really difficult to, because then you have to change back, right? So it's a lot harder to gain the weight back when you're really doing it that way versus when you're just trying to chase a number on the scale by doing another powder, by eating fake food, by doing it in ways that you're not going to be able to maintain long term. So I hope this is kind of starting to make sense. And if this really does resonate, you might be a good candidate for our Weight Controlled Blueprint program. This is a live program that I do myself with you guys. I do it 2 times a year. We do it once in January and usually once in September. And this is going to be the first time of 2023. It's a 3-month program, and it's really for people who kind of know what they should be doing, quote unquote, but their mindset and their habits around food kind of prevent them from being able to do it consistently. So if you're somebody who's very all or nothing with your eating habits, or you're a chronic dieter, this is the perfect program for you. And the problem is that if you never address these issues, you're going to be living in Groundhog's Day, right? You're going to kind of keep falling into the same cycles with nutrition and weight loss. You have to kind of solve for this mindset problem. So we have a step-by-step process to really kind of change your subconscious thinking around food and around weight. Most times people who are good candidates of this program have struggled with this possibly since childhood. They maybe had parents that were restrictive around food and or parents that were critical of their weight, and this stuff has been ingrained in them for such a long time. And until you change the way that your kind of subconscious mind processes all this stuff, you're going to keep kind of falling into the same cycles. So if you click the link below, there's a little quiz. If you take this quiz, it'll kind of determine if you're a good candidate for this program or not. So definitely check it out if what I'm saying is resonating with you. Like I said, we do it 2 times a year, and we offer so much stuff with it. But check it out, see if you're a good candidate for it, and take the survey, and you could either sign up if you're yep, this is me, I am ready to go. Or if you're not sure, you could obviously fill out the little form there and ask us questions, and we'll be more than happy to get in touch. So if you're not quite sure what your ideal eating self looks like, you could do a couple of things just to kind of get the ball rolling. One is if you have a friend or somebody that you know that has a really good relationship with food, you go out with him or her and you watch them eat and you're oh my God, they just order whatever and they don't care. Or, just somebody that you just feel oh my gosh, that's a really good food role model. You can almost go about your day and just be okay, well, what are they doing differently than what I'm doing? And if you're oh my gosh, they're naturally thin or whatever, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. They're going to have a good relationship with food just because that's not something that they necessarily had to worry about, most likely. So you can look for a good food role model in that sense, if that makes sense. Another thing you could do, though, is you can kind of just pay attention to any time that you're thinking about anything about weight or food or nutrition and you're like, that doesn't feel good to me. So like, for example, let's say you go out and you're like, oh, I really want to order this, but I feel like I have to order the salad. That's not going to feel good for you. That's like a red flag. Then you should be like, okay, this is something that I want to change how I approach this. This is something about my behaviors or my patterns that need to change. Or let's say, for example, you are like, okay, I'm going to like do this diet, and you're getting like all geared up and you're doing like the last meal situation on Sunday because you're never going to eat that stuff again. And then Monday rolls around, you're like, okay, now I'm stuck with this powdered stuff. That doesn't feel good. That should be a little bit of a red flag. You want to kind of spot all the things around nutrition and weight loss and food that don't feel good to you. It could be getting dressed in the morning. It could be how you're talking to yourself. It could be how you're talking about your body. It could be how you're talking to yourself around your food choices. Like, let's say you eat something that you feel like you quote unquote shouldn't eat. The second that you start off with that, oh, I shouldn't be doing that, that should be a red flag to you. And then you're like berating yourself for it. You make yourself feel guilty over the food choices. That could be a red flag to you. So you want to kind of like start to spot all the things that don't quite feel good in relation to food and nutrition and weight loss. And as you're spotting those things, you want to be like, okay, well, if I was my highest eating self, for lack of a better word, how would that person deal with this? How would this person act? How would this person talk to themselves around this stuff? Or like I said, if you do have a friend who is a good food role model and has a good relationship with food, you can say like, well, what would this person do? That's a good place to get started. But I really think just a really great takeaway from this episode is that in order to really truly be the person that's going to consistently be whatever your goal weight or goal size is, you're going to have to change parts of your personality. You're going to have to change parts of your habits. You're going to have to change how you think about things, a lot of your thought processes. And if you kind of focus on that, I think that's like a shortcut or a hack to really like get there and stay there and weed out all the kind of noise that's out there, especially this time of year around nutrition and weight loss. Like, I want to like just throw my shoe at the TV with all these commercials like lose 20 pounds in 20 days. Like one of my team staff members sent me a picture of an article, and this was like in the beginning of December, and it said lose 40 pounds by Christmas. Like, Jesus Christ, like what is this? Like, we live in a world with so much noise around food and nutrition and weight loss that of course we like completely miss the mark. So kind of really focusing and paying attention to those things will help you drown out the noise and really help you be successful and really help you put your energy and your goals where you're going to see that success long term, rather than like just chasing the carrot like so many of us do every year. And if this is something that you need help with, this is exactly what we do at Nutrishmish. So you can check out our Eat Right, Live Right program, which is our signature program that helps you get into good eating habits for life. And also just make sure you're following us on social media. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Fill your brain with good things like this because it will help keep you focused, especially when there's so much noise out there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it with somebody that it might be helpful to, and I will check you guys out next week. Enjoy your holiday season.